All right, welcome back. Another episode of Water Collective Podcast. You thought we were gone, but we're not. We're back. Been a month, but here we are.
We're back. We've had having a few technical difficulties this morning, so it may end up just being audio only because we're flashing if you're watching it on the TV.
Looks like we're in a rave or something
Yeah,
on there. But
must have smashed the camera during turkey season or something.
well, I did drop it in our trip
That's
that we're going
right.
to talk about in a minute, but it's the cord. It's not the camera. Hopefully, but yeah, it looks like we're going to be audio only, so that'll be whatever. Ain't nothing we can do about it. We're tired of sitting in here trying to play with
Yeah,
it.
it's
So.
like take 12. So, um, gonna
But
do
yeah, it's we've been busy. We'll get into it a little bit, but obviously, it's been turkey season, so that's been taking most of our time up. And then hopefully you can't hear him, but got a new pup last week, so I was out of town getting him last week, and he's in the other room just going nuts right now. But
he's not happy. He can't look at you.
no, he's not used to that kennel yet. He's 8 weeks old today, so he's getting used to everything. He's getting better. I mean,
He's just figuring it out. He ain't been here long.
no, and I only had to wake up 3 times in the night with him last night, 4 the night before, so we're getting better. But yeah, tired, busy, wore out, sad that turkey season around here is over pretty much.
Got one day.
Yep, one day. I'm gonna try to go.
I think I'm done. I think I hung the calls up for the last time in Mississippi.
I'm gonna try to go, but who knows if I'll actually. Depends on him. It depends on how many times he wakes me up. If I'm up all night with him, I'm probably not going because I already know that it's gonna be hot, muggy, mosquitoes. I don't like hunting down here this time of year
Yeah.
anyway.
We had a good hunt Sunday, so I think I'm only ended on that.
What did I hunt last? I hadn't heard a Mississippi turkey gobble in. I don't know. It's been weeks because when I went, I hadn't been hunting in probably 2 weeks around here and didn't hear anything. So, um, I don't know. Maybe I'll hear one tomorrow. Go out on a good note. But.
Well, we're gonna do a quick turkey season update recap. I don't know that we're calling it. It's not going to be the final, I guess, talk on because we still got a little bit left, with some travel and all. But
Yeah, I mean, I hope that. Well, I mean, I know you've got a trip that you're taking, so we'll be able to talk about that. And I'm hopeful. Again, it's all gonna hinge on the dog, but
you may make a last minute run.
I'm still hopeful that I'll get one more trip in. It just depends on if I can get him potty trained and kennel trained. I'm not gonna leave Haley with a baby and a puppy to take care of that's not house trained at least. So that all depends. But yeah, we're not going to talk about turkeys this whole episode either, since that's all we did the last time. But we are going to kind of do a little update and talk about the best parts of the year and some stuff like that. So I guess getting right into it, we can talk about kind of what we were doing while we were too busy 2 weeks ago to record when we were supposed to. And
Yeah, we thought about doing a mobile podcast, but that never. I don't know why we didn't. We talked about it a time or two, and then never got it out.
And it who knows what it would have been like, but we were on the road, so we made a quick little trip over to Oklahoma 2 weeks ago to go turkey hunting. I was supposed to go with somebody else, and they ended up backing out, so I had decided I wasn't going. And then
I hadn't even seen you that week. We'd been slammed at work, and I just happened to walk outside that Wednesday to get something out of the truck at the same time I think you were leaving, and you told me that y'all weren't going, which gave me just enough time to go inside and get to thinking about Morgan, Virginia. We're going to be out of town, and I thought I might could pull it together.
yeah, and then it's all right. I'm going, so I get all my hopes up. And then 2 hours later, I get a text. I'm not going. Like, what the hell?
I had to move 2 days worth of work.
And then an hour later, I'm back going. So we didn't.
I went from going to get a water out of my truck to thinking about going to Oklahoma, and I had to move 2 days worth of work to get everything set up right.
So it panned out though. Glad we went. Not going to get into super detail of where we went or any of that, but I'll say what time did we leave here? Around 11, something like
Yeah,
that.
a little bit. Yeah, before lunch.
We tried to push it the entire way, which Austin was driving. I thought it was going to take us till Saturday to get there, but he ended up picking the pace up when we got over into Texas. Um, but we got there with like,
15, 20 minutes before dark.
yeah, maybe. I mean, we parked the truck at the first spot that we thought looked good and had, yeah, probably 10 minutes
Yeah, something
of
like that.
decent
I mean, it
daylight.
was perfect timing.
Yeah, because I mean, we got out of the truck, we walked 50 yards and saw some tracks. So that, I mean,
We were
for to
feeling,
be the first spot,
yeah,
we were
we were
feeling
feeling
good
good after
about
we saw the
that.
tracks because we at least knew a turkey existed there.
And then we hadn't walked another 50 yards and a turkey gobbled. So then it was cloud nine. I mean,
Hmm.
just, who knows what's going to happen the next morning, but we knew where a turkey was. So, um,
We knew we had driven
9 hours or
9 hours
so
and had found something to hunt the next morning.
instantly. Yeah. And we ended up hearing what, two, maybe
I
three
think
that night.
so. The more I've thought about it, we knew it was two for sure, and there was a possible third, and the possible third we thought was kind of in between the two we were hearing.
Yeah.
I think the two that we got on the next morning,
Were
I think that
yeah.
was the two. I think we did hear three turkeys, and I think it was the two that were together right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably so. We didn't know what to expect as far as pressure goes. How many people? I mean, the season had opened what, Wednesday,
Yeah, we
and
got
this
there.
was Thursday
Yep.
night.
Yeah, it was
We were
Thursday
going to be able to
night.
hunt Friday, so we figured it may be an influx of people. But the one good thing about Oklahoma, or at least after how it went, what we think is that they dropped the limit down to one. So I mean, it's not an expensive license, but they dropped the limit down to one. So it's like, how many people are really going to travel that far to go kill one bird? Um, so anyway, we didn't know what to expect. We get up next morning at 3:45, get to our spot at probably
Yeah,
4:15, and
4:15,
we were
something like
fired
that.
up as can be because we were the first ones there.
We'd seen two trucks the afternoon before, I think, so we didn't really know what it was going to be like.
Well, we ended up sitting there from 4:30 to daylight and did not see another truck. So I think we could have slept another hour at least, but at least our spot was at
Hey,
least we had our
we
spot.
got to sit in the truck and drink some coffee for a little while,
Yeah, that's
for
right.
a lot
That's
of
right.
while.
S-
Um,
So then all right, so it gets daylight.
well, we walked in there, yeah, and it started getting daylight. We walked in,
It never would get daylight.
yeah, we walked in and kind of was going to get between the two of them and hedging toward the one that was, I guess, closest to the gate. Or in my head, I just kept thinking the left one.
Yeah.
So we were going to try to get closer to him, and like Bo said, like that morning, daylight drug on and drug on and drug on. And it didn't seem like it was really super cloudy or super overcast, but I guess it was just kind of hazy or something, and it
Yeah.
made it just like they didn't gobble till a little bit later. I felt like they didn't
Yeah.
gobble as early as I was expecting them to gobble.
Yeah, no. And then we kept waiting on that one. We had kind of made up our mind which one we were going to, and then the other one gobbled. Well,
The other
we
one,
aren't just going to run over to him, so we kept waiting, kept waiting.
and he started to
He
crank it
gobbled
up a little bit.
again.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think he gobbled a third or a fourth time, and it ended up being multiple turkeys. So who knows how many times each one gobbled, but it was probably third or fourth gobble. We were like, all right, let's go to them.
especially because we had a couple hundred yards to walk to get down to where we needed to be to even make an attempt at him. So
Yeah, and it was open, and we didn't know exactly where he was, and we couldn't. It's not like we had woods for cover the whole way
yeah,
there. I mean, we
if
had a
we were
big
going to go,
fields we had to
we had to
cross.
go then. Um, Walk down there and first setup. Well, we thought we got to where we could. I mean, it looked like a pretty good setup with the where he was roosted and where he kind of come from. But
And by the time we got there, we knew it was at least two turkeys,
yep,
maybe three.
which is what I had my fingers crossed hoping for, not knowing anything going into it and knowing that we had Friday to hunt, and then Saturday it was 100% chance of rain all
Yep.
day,
And then had to come back
and we were
Sunday.
coming back
So
Sunday, so it was like if we can find two and possibly double,
we weren't gonna miss that
it's gonna
opportunity.
make it a short trip, but that is ideally what we're looking for.
So, all right, where we at? We
So
hit we
first setup, we get
and they
there.
start they're gobbling
They're growing
like
pretty like
Rios should gobble.
yeah.
They're gobbling like you hope when you go hunt Rios how they'll gobble. I mean, they just one after another after another after another. And we decided to make a move. They're still in the tree, but we had set up. It just wasn't,
They
especially,
had just burnt they had burned that earlier this year, I guess. And so it was just there was no undercover, like it just they were gonna see us as soon as they were gonna be 70, 80 yards from us to see us.
and the thing was, as far as trying to double, there from that setup, I don't think there was any way
Uh-uh.
we were going to double.
But fortunately we got up and jumped across because there ended up being a ravine right in front of
Deep,
us. Yeah, a
a
deep
deep
ravine.
ravine.
But that allowed us to go through the ravine and get set up finally on the other side of it.
And where we set up the second time, we both were just kind of like, this is perfect. From where they were, it was perfect. Um, so Austin gets to calling. They're gobbling. They don't really,
Well, no,
they never really
I
answered, but they,
was like soft calling and just purring and whining and just like soft stuff because we were on public, so I didn't want to just blow it up on the roost. And they never. I remember leaning over to you and saying they hadn't heard me because they were gobbling the whole time, but they never like answered a
yeah,
call.
yeah, no, they didn't seem like they cared for the call at all. But
I think they just couldn't hear it because that ravine
well, and
that
they were in another yeah,
well,
they
so
were
that
in
ravine
another
that we were in kind of like J hooked around us, and
yeah.
they were in that same ravine. Um, they were just straight across from us in it. I think that, and by that time they were probably on the ground. I think when we first sat down, they
Well,
were level with
I
us.
know after you called for a little bit, they were on the ground. I could tell that when they gobbled, which again they weren't answering, they were just kind of gobbling. But I could tell they were on the ground. They just weren't moving.
And then I turned my head back, kind of the way we walked in, and yelped real loud. And they both
They answered
they
then,
double gobbled, and
and it
it
was
was
on because you. I think you yelped. I can't remember exactly, but you yelped again. I think after that, and I
I
told you they were coming.
yeah. Oh, well, I yelped and they gobbled, and I answered them and they gobbled,
Yeah.
and then I didn't say anything for just a second, and they gobbled on their own like 30 seconds later, and you're like, they're coming.
Yep. Yep. And it wasn't what 2 minutes later. I saw that one.
Yeah, I was sitting there, and I ended up yelping one more time after that because I wanted where they were for us to double. I knew they
Needed to
needed to
come to the
come. I needed
right.
them to come to the right, so I turned my head and yelped again back behind us. They didn't answer that time, but then before I even got my head turned back around, you could see them.
Yeah. Well, I could see one, and he popped out, and he's not what 35 steps. He's not far at all.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So from my perspective, I have a tree. We're sitting on the same tree. So my left shoulder's up against the tree and then Bo's kind of in front of it. So he hadn't ever killed in Oklahoma before. So I wanted him to make sure he got the first shot. So I was kind of sitting behind him. So
And I had never
doubled.
doubled,
Yeah.
so I was just a little bit hesitant. I don't I don't know. I didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to miss one, being worried about doubling.
That's a whole nother
Um,
story in itself too.
but so
But anyway, so from my perspective, like I got the tree and I have your head and you said I can see them. Well, as I'm kind of looking past Bo, I can see this ridge like 70 yards out there, which was kind of the direction they were roosted. So I'm like, I'm studying that ridge as hard as I can study it, waiting for him to pop up on that ridge. And the next thing I know, he walks out like past your ear. It's like what I could see. And he's like 25 steps.
yeah, I mean
Oh,
he wasn't far at all, and he looked like where you at, and you were like just shoot him because he wasn't like putting or anything, but he was a little bit
what
nervous.
he was well, it was open back there behind that ravine
Hmm.
went up and curved, and where I was calling to, he was gonna have to come up there and so I think what he wasn't looking at us.
No, he didn't see
He was
us.
looking past us trying to see around that curve. Um, and so I was freaking I didn't want Bo to miss out on an opportunity. So I'm like, just kill him, just
Yeah,
kill him, just
you know,
kill
I
him.
just shoot the turkey. Well, luckily there was a little bit of a branch between, and I mean, I knew he wasn't about to just dart out of there, so I knew I had a second. And so there was a little branch, and I didn't want to shoot. And about that time, he popped into a strut. It's like, oh, okay, he's
Yeah,
fine.
we're good.
Well, then that other one come up behind him. Well, when that other one started coming up, the first one was like, well, I'm not missing out on this. And they both kind of, I mean, it was like a trot
Yeah, they started
coming
trotting
to our
to
right. And I bet they were, what do you think they were when we shot? 20?
Yeah, I
20
don't think
steps?
they were in the teens, probably 20. They were right on. They weren't 15, they were
No,
probably
they were probably
18 to
20.
20.
Yeah. And so the one in the back, I was just letting you get the big turkey. I was going to get him. I was letting him get on up there. But so the one in the back finally gets to where I can get a shot and I shoot. And we didn't 1, 2, 3 or anything because we didn't want to screw that up. Austin was like,
There's no
just
"we" there.
okay. Well, I didn't want to screw it up. Austin just said, just shoot. And
Well, I don't know. I've doubled several times before, and we always go 1, 2, boom. So it's just you shoot on 3. So it's like 1, 2, boom. Just keep the cadence. Bo wanted to do on 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3,
shoot.
boom.
Yeah.
And
So
I was like, man, that's too much to keep up with. Just 1, 2, boom.
but how do you play rock, paper, scissors?
I'm not rock, paper, scissors in the turkey.
I know, but
I
it's
do
still that
rock, paper,
same.
scissors, shoot.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
It's just an extra step and when there's a lot of stuff going on. So just 1, 2, boom.
Well, what makes me nervous, which you've done it enough, so I'm sure you wouldn't do this, but what I always think is going to happen, and I might be the one that would do this, is if you say 1, 2, shoot, it would turn into 1, 2, boom. And I didn't want to be caught off guard by a shot and then be like, oh, shit, shoot.
So anyway, I just told Buzz, like, you just shoot and I'll shoot after you shoot. I said, don't move, but I'll shoot after you shoot. But we timed it up just right.
Yeah, I mean, it
And
was.
that's, I mean, on the 1, 2, boom thing, like, if you're the guy that's kind of planning on shooting second anyway, you're almost even shooting more on the
You're kind of
sound.
waiting on a
You're
on
kind of,
gunshot.
yeah, you're kind of waiting on the sound anyway, rather than the shot. So
So yeah, we
it
were,
worked.
but yeah, I
You
mean,
got
so
first double and first Oklahoma.
first double, first Oklahoma, first public land Rio, a lot of firsts. Um, that was at 6:50, I think, is when we killed. So we rolled into Oklahoma 7:50 the night before, and at 6:50 we were done.
Yep.
So that was it's pretty awesome. We wanted to go to Arkansas afterwards, but we looked at their license and
I wanted to come home
well,
afterwards.
yeah, you did. It wasn't.
Bo's like, "What we do now?" I was like, "Man, we head home. Like, we'll be home for dark."
We killed at 6:50, and by 7, he was saying he was ready to go home. I was like, I'm not getting in that. I don't like driving. I don't like riding
Well, I knew
anything.
that
I was like, I am not
it was a
getting back in that
100%
truck.
chance of rain in any state that we could drive to.
Yeah,
But
we should
Mississippi,
have gone to Colorado, like I
but
said.
Mississippi, it wasn't going to rain on Saturday morning. So I was like, let's just get in the truck, drove back. We hunt in Mississippi in the morning.
Yeah, well, I wanted to go to Arkansas, but then we got to looking at licenses and stuff, and that's another one turkey state, which is fine, which is good, bring their population back, but it was going to cost like $540 for a
By the time you
license.
collected
And
everything you needed.
yeah, I mean, where we were going to go, you had to have a little lease permit, you had to have a turkey permit, you had to have a hunting license. It was like $540 or $550, so that was not happening. So we went to Texas
I
and
told
tried some
Bo I
public
wasn't
land.
going any further. We could go
Yeah, we went
any
south.
state that was considered back toward home would work.
We went south, and I think if we would have stayed there the whole weekend,
I'd have liked to had a morning there.
yeah, we could have probably got lucky, but I just don't think it was. I think it was going to be a get lucky deal where you're just kind of sitting there calling and a turkey rolls up.
Mhm.
It wasn't going to be good goblin action like we had the morning before or any of that. So we went down there, wasted some money on licenses, hunted that afternoon, and by that afternoon, we were both like, "All right, let's go to the house." So we started making our way back, and
Rolled in back Saturday about lunch. So,
yeah, yeah. So you hunted Sunday, right?
yep, I hunted Sunday. Didn't hear turkey.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember when. I might have gone Sunday too and didn't hear
It
one. I
was
don't know.
windy and raining Sunday.
I might have slept then. Who knows? But yeah, that was Oklahoma. That's our excuse for why we didn't drop a podcast 2 weeks ago, because we were out there trying to get some content, and we did, and we had fun. Um, so just kind of moving past that, I figured just a second. We won't spend a ton of time on it since last episode we caught everybody up on our turkey season. But what would you say? What's your best moment of turkey season this year? Anything that stands out? Any Bad things?
I guess the best thing I killed is the turkey when Barrett and I doubled. I realized that that put me back ahead on I had killed more with him than I had missed. So that was a good.
Damn, you must miss a lot of turkeys.
I just missed a lot of turkeys with Barrett.
Mm, well,
Knock on wood.
see, that's that doubling stuff.
Um, so yeah, that was a plus. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I mean,
I mean, Oklahoma is right up there at the top for my best part of the season so far. I know I'm kind of thinking best part of the Mississippi season since a lot of seasons aren't over yet, but Oklahoma was right up there with
I,
the best part.
yeah, I took Morgan Sunday, and she got the closest she had been to getting to kill one. It was a bad set. We couldn't. We had to come through this ravine, and he gobbled like the same elevation we were, and we were joining a clear cut, and he gobbled at the same elevation we were. So we sat down instead of being able to get all the way to the clear cut because he was close, and so we just had to kind of sit down in a bad spot. And instead of him continuing through the stream size management zone, like on the elevation we were, he went back up in the clear cut and circled around above us. And he came up to like 45 yards, and I had a clear view of him, but I was sitting like, I didn't have a gun. She was shooting, and she was in front of me, in front of a tree, and I was just sitting like bear hugging a tree basically, so I could be right on her shoulder to talk to her. And she shoots left handed, and he was coming to our left that way. And there was a tree in front of her that she couldn't see him when he came up to like 40, 45. So he walked off and spun her around, got her in a better position, and called him back up. But the second time he came, he got like behind a pine top or something. Like instead of coming the way he did, he came a different route and got stuck behind like some log and debris and walked up there, stood around for a little bit. That was probably about 60, but it was a bunch of stuff in front of him um, that just kept him from coming on down in the SMZ, and then he walked off. But she got a good like high energy turkeys gobbling right on top of us. Got to see him come up that close. Um, gun was too heavy for her. She's trying to figure out how to hold her gun up during the whole time. Heart was beating, all that kind of stuff. So she had a good hunt. It just we didn't quite close the deal. If we could have got another 20 yards up to the top of the hill, it'd have been a different story. But um, I was just afraid as open it was in there, we couldn't get that last little bit. We just had to sit down as close as he was to us. So that was fun. So that's why I said I don't think I'm gonna go tomorrow. 'Cause that was a good one to end on.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I know if I go tomorrow, probably not gonna hear anything.
I'd
It'll
rather
probably
end
be,
on that than go tomorrow and not hear
yeah.
anything.
Yeah. But so which I, like I said, already talked about it last episode, but for sure, I had never killed, going into this year, I had never killed a turkey with either one of my sisters. Well, one of them had never killed a turkey, period. Called one up for her opening day. She killed one and then called up two for my other sister. She killed both of those and then called one up for myself with her. So killed three with her this year, one with Lane. So that was the highlight of my season for sure. Killed one with another buddy and then one with you, two with you. So hunting with folks and getting to hunt with
Mhm.
them and
Yeah.
then getting her first turkey was by far the highlights. But
It was I mean, it was a good season. I think kind of everybody in our
everybody
group
I've
and all,
talked
like
to
it was,
had a good season. Our little turkey hunting group that we have, there I don't know how many turkeys were killed, which again, it's a good measuring stick of how good the season was as far as turkey numbers. When you go on, you take a group of people and everybody's kind of seeing and getting in and killing turkeys.
yeah.
You don't want to just we're not how do I say it? We're not just after like how many numbers we can get, but it's a good judge of
Everybody was successful.
yeah, it's a good judge
Um,
of how many turkeys, how good of a spring it was when you have a group of 10 people or so. And
Especially when every weekend it was either wind was blowing 15 miles an hour, or it was raining, or it had just finished raining, or was about to rain.
yeah,
Like
it wasn't a great weather
the weather
spring, that's
was
for
really,
sure.
if you hunted during the week, it was probably fine. But on the week, it seemed like the way the weekends lined up, it was like every weekend there was something.
Yeah,
We only had a couple actually just clear mornings, probably on Saturday or Sundays.
yeah. So, but it won't technically wrap the book on turkey hunting for this podcast because, like I said, you've got that trip, and I'm fingers crossed that I'll have another trip. But as far as Mississippi goes, putting a bow on that one
Yep.
for the podcast for 2024.
So getting into summer stuff,
Start thinking about summer stuff. I've already started thinking about it. Hoping to do some stuff this weekend. Have you kind of made a plan or gotten a plan or have any ideas of what you're going to do?
not really. I'm so behind
When we
from.
say summer, I guess we didn't go into it, but we're talking about stuff for deer or habitat in general. But
Yeah, summer food plots, all that
summertime
kind of stuff.
habitat work.
Um, Not really. I hadn't. I mean, I got to get through. We're leaving next. We're leaving Sunday of this week, going on that trip. So that's kind of. We did it last year. That's kind of when I get my mind switched over. Is once I finish turkey.
Officially
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
officially done. So, um, and when I get back, we'll have some like pastures and stuff to spray. We'll have to hit for a weekend or two and get that stuff done, and then it'll be. I won't switch gears until that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to do things a little bit different this year. We talked about it on here plenty, but out there at my place, I did the Pea Patch Plus or whatever it's called from WMSC. It's cowpeas, buckwheat, sunflower, maybe some soybean,
Hmm.
and it did good. I planted it in 2 fields, and it did good. They hit it hard, but it even though it was getting hit hard, it still came up pretty good. But um, we had a state biologist come up to my family's place this past fall and kind of talk, or this past winter, and talk about summer stuff and what we wanted to do and all that. Um, and we talked about joint veg, and so I think that's what I'm going to do at my place too. It's expensive, but it covers. It's a bag of it covers a good bit of land, and it's extremely tolerant to
Hmm.
browse. That's like the best thing about joint veg is it's got a good protein content, just like peas. Not quite as good as soybeans,
Is it pretty
but
drought resistant too?
yes, it's hardy. It's
Okay.
drought resistant. It's extremely browse resistant. So that's what we're going to try. We're putting it. We're probably going to plant at my place. I'm going to plant probably 3 acres of it, and then at my family's place,
Are you gonna mix it in with something else, or are you gonna go?
mm-mm, I'm going just joint veg. I may plant some Alice clover, but I doubt it. I think I'm just going to go just joint veg. Now, I am saving an acre. Um, Shout out to Biologic. They sent me a bag of their corn blend. It's
Mhm,
2 different corns. I can't think exactly. I should have looked it up before this. I can't think of what's in it. One of them's kind of like a dwarf corn, more where it's easier to reach. It's if you wanted to plant it like in a duck hole or something, it's going to be closer to water level. And then the other one is just kind of your standard sweet corn, but it's an heirloom type corn. It's not Roundup
mhm.
ready. But I'm gonna plant an acre of that and see how that goes. Kind of a test, which that's not. It's not gonna provide summer food, but
I'm sure that'll probably be a series type deal that you follow through the summer and all, since you are gonna do like kinda like a test plot of an
yeah,
acre with it.
I'm gonna put out, and especially since they were good enough to send me that stuff. I'm gonna test it out and really get into it and try to get it growing right. I know it's gonna need some. I know corn takes a lot of nitrogen. I think it's calling for 4600 on the fertilizer. So, um, but yeah, I'm gonna do an acre of that. I hope to have enough to pick some for myself because I didn't plant any corn in my backyard this year. But I'm gonna do that for the fall. That won't be a summer plot, but it's gonna be. I mean, I'm gonna plant it here soon, and then the joint veg. So, um, my plan. Our video just went
Yeah,
completely
I just
out,
noticed
but
that.
it's fine. Whatever. But my plan. Do you know? So I've put out a video on this YouTube channel on my big food plot at my place, but it's just like a straight. It's a power line, so
Mhm,
it's just like a straight. My plan is to plant that corn. Come out, say 20 yards, plant an acre of corn, and then come out another like 20 yards from each side, and then corn in the middle. That way, I'll still have my clover and stuff grow, and I don't have to disc it under right now because it's gonna be good until say June or so.
Mhm.
And then have my corn getting up, and then about September, October, go ahead and turn my clover over and plant my fall, just my wheat and clover and stuff, annual stuff for fall. But that way, I'll have my wheat and stuff 20 yards from the woods, and then on the other side 20 yards from the woods, and then so if they want to come out into the corn, they're going to have to cross that to get out into the middle.
Mhm. Well, and the corn also give them a little bit of like a,
They
so
won't be, yeah,
it'll
they'll
give
kind
them
of be hidden
a
out in there.
break. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll cover up because it's open on the other side of it, so it'll give it a little bit of some cover on the backside of it.
Yeah.
That makes
That's,
sense.
yeah. So I don't know. That's an idea in my head. Who it might change when I get out there and start piddling with it, but that's the plan. So hopefully that goes right. Another another thing to be thinking about right now is minerals.
Mhm.
I got to go out there. I'm gonna probably top mine off this weekend because I mean you ought to be seeing in the next couple weeks. You ought to be able to see some little
Yeah,
nubs popping up.
Barrett showed me a picture this weekend. He's got one that's got probably 4 or 5 inch knobs coming up already.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about around here is you'll have that, but then you're liable to. I mean, not now at this point, but 2.5 weeks ago, you're liable to still see a deer holding on the horns.
Right.
It's like that's why
No,
that.
that's early. That's probably the earliest like we personally have ever had
Yeah.
a buck on camera with knobs. I mean,
Well, and I mean, nutrition's a big thing around here.
I'm
We've
gonna
talked about
say,
that a
yeah.
hundred times, but that's another reason why the more you shorten up the antler growing season, the less big it can get, and
Mhm.
that's just another just typical of around here. It's late, but it's a good place. Minerals are a good place to get pictures in the
Yep.
summer
That
because
and I think that's the biggest thing with them. I mean, I don't know overall how much of an impact it really has in changing anything. I'm sure it doesn't hurt. I mean, there's different studies out there that show that it helps, that it's not enough to make any big difference. I think the biggest thing is it's a great place to start getting an idea. I don't think it hurts, and I think it starts
well,
giving
it's not
you
going to make a huge difference, but
well, and it
it's
starts giving you an idea of what's out there. Like it's just the quickest, easiest way to get something. Um, Start developing some patterns with them. Know what's coming around, what's growing. I mean, they definitely hit them. They love them.
yeah. Well, in my opinion, it's like I always associate back to humans, and it's like if you have minerals out there for them, it's kind of like you waking up in the morning and taking a multivitamin. Like, yeah, it's you're not just gonna feel or look different, but it's good for you. It's
Hmm.
not bad for you.
Right.
You're getting some minerals and some vitamins that you wouldn't get otherwise, and that's the same way with deer. I mean, it's not gonna change their life, but they're getting some minerals and some vitamins that they need that they wouldn't get otherwise if you don't do it. So,
Yep.
but yeah, it is the as far as the summer goes, it's the best place to get pictures for sure. Uh, but that's yeah, it's that time of year. It's time to
I'll have
get
my
that
mind a
stuff
little bit
done.
more on that probably the next time we talk about what's doing. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's where I will start. It's where I start every year is with minerals and start getting cameras around.
Yeah,
Um, I think I'm gonna do more stuff. There's some stuff I want to do this summer with some stand locations that I kind of had marked from last year, and um, got some lemon and stuff that I know I need to do. So I think this year's gonna be more focus on like that side of it, moving some stands and stuff this summer that I'll always put off. And I'm saying that right now. Once it gets hot in the middle of summer, I probably
oh,
won't.
it's fine. We'll wait. We'll
But that
push it again.
but that's what that's my real goal this summer is to get some of those that I've been watching for the last year or two that I want to get some stands moved to.
Yeah. So the as far as the last point that I had, I
So what
want to.
about your big announcement?
Well,
That was
I was just about to say let's just push that, but we don't have to. So I mean, by now you know about White Oak Properties. If for some reason this is your first episode to listen to, this podcast goes along with my real estate company that's White Oak Properties, and we kind of have wanted to get more and more into the land services business since we started. I mean, that was kind of one of the goals when I started it, and we're slowly getting there. But a big thing in that um, pursuit, I guess, was adding some equipment because I can't really get the business if you don't have the equipment to get it done. So last week added a skid steer, got a mulching head on the way. Um, to be able to do some stuff like some food plot development, some road work, some just kind of cleaning up your entryway of your property. Really, anything that you want done, we can do it, and we'll be putting out all kind of videos and stuff on what we can get done with that thing. But yeah, I thought it was going to be a little learning curve on driving it, and turns out it runs like a dang video game. I mean, it's a
Well, I was gonna say it's not that big. I mean, if anybody follows you on social media, they've already seen some snippets of you on the inside of it. So
Yeah, and I mean, it's 2 joysticks. The joystick on the left runs the machine itself, and the joystick on the right runs the, um, whatever attachments you've got on up front.
yeah,
So, it's yeah, I mean, it I was on there. I've been on there a total of probably 2 hours, and I feel pretty like I wanted to test it on my place, and I'm still gonna do some more testing on my place before I
well, I was gonna
take
say
on any
that's
business because 'cause I'm gonna feel confident that I'm not gonna mess up somebody else's property, or I'm gonna do it exactly how they want it. But I already feel pretty close to being able to do that. But I mean, that's like a lot around here. A lot of people are getting to where they want turnkey properties. They don't want to buy a piece of property and have to go out there and do all the crap themselves. So it's going to help us just to either A, set up a turnkey property and sell it, or B, be able to take a client out to a piece of property and then make a plan and say, hey, this is all we can do. One price pretty much for the land and having it set up like you want it. And then you drive your
mhm,
truck up there and you're good to go. I mean,
it's done.
you're
It's
ready
ready
to
for
go.
you.
You don't have anything to worry about. You don't have to call somebody else to try to get the work done. We'll be able to do it all. And that's kind of what we wanted to do from the get go. And we're getting close. That machine's a big step. So if you happen to be local, Mississippi or Alabama, and want some work like that done, or want maybe you're looking for a property that you want to set up to be able to hunt or whatever you want to do, we can do it. So we're pretty fired up about that. I'm gonna the end of this week. I'm gonna go out there and get on it and get proficient.
I was gonna say you got a fair
And then
amount
you're
of
cutting me loose at your place.
yeah, yeah. I plan on getting you out there.
I'm gonna make Austin be my first customer when it comes to this stuff. I may screw it up, but I may do it good. You never
Hey,
know.
I got plenty of places that you can go out there and screw up or try to do it better.
Well, I'm
It's not
just
gonna
gonna
make it
screw
worse
up
than it
my place.
is.
I'm gonna screw up my place enough first, where
I don't think you will. I think you got enough stuff to that you're gonna do out there that you'll be pretty proficient on it by the time you get done.
yep, I do too, and I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be good. I'm fired up about it. I hope that I get enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be running the thing. I hope to build up enough business where I can hire somebody to operate it, where I can be, where I don't I'm just adding hours to my work schedule right now. I don't because I'm not going to back off on selling real estate, and I'd like to be able to still focus on that and have somebody else running the machine. But right now, I'm gonna run it because I want to know how to run it and what to do. But uh,
And I
yeah,
think that's something people could feel comfortable with is that you're not gonna start doing that. If somebody's listening to this, like, man, he just bought something, but just jump into something you don't know anything about.
yeah, no, it
I don't
goes
think before you start offering that I think that part won't be a question by the time you start offering that as a service.
no, and it goes hand in hand so perfectly with selling
Mhm.
real estate. I mean, it's kind of I mean, you're if most of the time you're going to need something done regardless. If I had sold you a piece of property right now, you were probably going to end up hiring somebody else to do a little bit of work to it,
Right.
unless it's already turnkey. And so now it's just kind of all in house. It's we'll find you what you want, we'll set it up like you want, and all you got to do is show up and hunt.
Or you got foresters on staff, you're starting to work on the equipment side. It's just
We want to be
kinda
all
it's
encompassing
kinda to
land
put the
service, anything to do with land. We want to be able to do it, and yeah, we're pretty close. We're pretty close to being there. So yeah, that's
I got one final thing I just thought about this morning I meant to bring up. I'm guessing you're probably done with that.
Yeah, I'm done with that. Go ahead.
What about the cicadas? Have you
I haven't
managed?
seen one
Yeah.
yet.
Oh man, they are all over my
I've
yard.
seen pictures, but I haven't seen one yet.
They're all over my yard, and my dogs are actively hunting them right now. Like they every day, there's more and more of them. It seems like for the last few days, I guess they're really kind of coming out of the ground now. It's the coolest thing. Now, like I've been actually paying attention to it. Like
What do they
uh,
stay on the ground for 17 years or something?
ours are 13 year.
13
So
year.
there is a seven. There's like four, 3 or 4 17-year varieties, and then like I think it's 3 17-year and 4 13-year maybe. And the brood we have is a 13-year variety, and it's just kind of like East Mississippi, maybe goes up to North Mississippi some. Um, they're a little black, have red eyeballs, but they come up out of the ground. Like it's like in our yard, you can really see it because it's been mowed and all. But like you go out there around those water oaks, and I think they live around the hardwood trees. They feed on hardwood roots, but you can see them coming out of the like, you can see their holes where they've come up out of the ground all around the base of the tree, and then like their little exoskeletons are all just like they're all over the ground around
Yeah.
them where they've come up and came out of them. But the dogs are our 2 dogs. One of them like is just walking around looking for him on the ground, and the other one like you'll look out there, he'll just be sitting staring at a tree,
Just
and then he'll
waiting.
move to another tree and he'll sit and he'll stare at that tree for a while.
All
Um,
I can think is turkey food. It's perfect time coming out right
oh yeah, it
now.
is perfect for them.
Little
Well, and I think our annual cicadas will come out right after they come out. So,
little
um,
poults about to be hatching. About to be food all over the place for them.
but it's cool if you live around here and you haven't looked, like go check them. I mean, you can hear them right now. It seems like every
Yeah, I
every
can hear them. I
every
just hadn't
every
seen one
morning
yet.
it's gotten more and more and more. But they are cool if you
Yeah,
hadn't
I
paid
saw
attention to them.
a girl that I follow on some social media that's one of my sister's friends. I saw her say something like, "What is this noise I'm hearing every morning? Um, that sounds like a siren." I'm like, yeah, it's cicadas.
Yep.
But
Well, I had to mention that since we won't be able to mention it for another 13 years, so had to throw that in there.
well, I hope that this thing's still going where we can mention it again in 13 years. But yeah, we got 3 guests coming up soon, so it won't be just us. We'll have some actual topics that we are going to cover. We're going to go in deeper with summer food plots and stuff. Got a really cool guest there. You've got a guest coming in to kind of talk fishing and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and then we're going to finally get Steven back to talk about land financing.
That's
So,
right. We do gotta get it, Steven, the missing podcast.
so the next 3 episodes ought to be pretty good. Some interesting guests and some good stuff to talk about. So,
Well, if you
but
pattern us like you pattern deer, this is your summer thought. We do way better when it's not a hunting season going on.
yeah, because I mean, I don't want to
It's
use it as
hard
an
to
excuse, but especially turkey season, it's like, I
yeah,
mean,
it's hard to get
I'm
everything
sorry,
lined
I
up.
just don't care that much about recording when I could be in the woods. So, but yeah, summertime will be better about it, and hopefully we don't miss another week. But that's all I got this week. Unless you got something
Nope,
else,
I'm
we'll see
good.
you in 2
Cicadas is my
weeks.
last thought.
All right, see you later.